Back in the late 60s, in the height of the Vietnam conflict, the whole country was divided. As usual, not having good grades could result in your uh, serious injury or death because, yeah, uh, if you weren't a fortunate son and your daddy had money to send you to college, you could find yourself over in some foreign jungle uh, shooting at somebody in the bushes and they're shooting back at you, but you can't even see them. But anyway, I wanted to talk, bring this little story here, true story. I hope I don't exaggerate too much, uh, but for the most part, it's true. A few of the details I might have wrong, but because it's been so far back. But anyway, I was just wanting to talk about this when I moved. In the height of all this, right in the middle of this part of our history and our country, I was hitchhiking all over the country. I was wanted to see the world, and I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did do what I did, because there's nothing out there. Well, anyway, on part of my ventures, I went to New Orleans, lived for a while down there. Had a friend that was down there in that I played sports with in high school, basketball, and he lived down there. And anyway, I got my foot in the door where he found me a place and everything down there. It was kind of like a streetcar named Desire. We had lived in a house kind of like that. Several people, families would live in these great big houses, big tall ceilings and big tall windows. You ever see that movie? In fact, I believe that same trolley went by back then in those days. It was little streetcars that went up to this. I lived on Magazine Street, which is right down there by the river on Canal. Probably the last. You go toward the river and take a right. I think it's the last or next to the last street on the right. You go all the way. Well, I lived way down that street back in the 60s. There was a college there. Not going to say what college it was, but the college campuses, all the communists would come to the college campuses and all these different organizations. Right up front, I'd like to say I wasn't political in one least bit. My interest was girls and having fun, and eating and whatever it was, drinking. That was my interest back then. But the communists were there, and my buddy was a wannabe communist. They would have communist speakers come on those campuses all over the country, and they were talking to the people, and they would talk about the war and all this different events that were going on, and they'd have little meetings and little spaghetti suppers, and they had spaghetti suppers that caught my attention. Anyway, they were going to have one with my friend one night over there. I don't know if it was at his house. I can't remember all the details, but I said, "Well, I think I'll go to that little event. I'm going to get free spaghetti from the communists." And my friend, I'm not calling his name, said, "Doug, you're not invited to the party." I says, "Why? Look, you know, I was the last thing from being they probably didn't want me to eat up all the spaghetti for one thing, but or drink up all the beer, but or chase all. I was there for the girls anyway. But uh, he says no. He believes in God. How did that communist leader detect that I believed in God. That's what I want to know, because I was the worst sinner that ever walked through the door, you know. But he said, no, he believes in God. That was one of the requirements, you know, not to believe in God, to believe in the state, you know. Uh, and But anyway, I didn't get invited to that. You know, that was my end of relations with the Communist Party, because I believed in God. Of course, I did believe in God. I don't know how he detected it, because I sure wasn't living no uh, uh, what people would call a Christian life. You know, I don't even call it Christian now, because I just call it child of grace, one of God's children, one of His people. You know, because of that, you know, and if a Christian can, you know, that word gets batted around nowadays. You know, you mean anything. But anyway, he said he believes in God, and I wasn't invited to that little party. But anyway, as I think back on it, on that time in my life, it was a time for learning. I was down there by myself on my own. I got my little job, worked for a while, saw the world. I used to go down there down to, I remember one time, I can see now how I wound up back here in the valley and where I live now. Valley, when I say valley, that encompasses a whole big old huge area down here, all the way to Columbus. But uh, anyway, I having a blackout. Can't remember that. But I can see how that I did believe in God, even back then, as a scoundrel I was, you know, a rascal I was. That I did believe in Him. Those communists picked up on it for some reason, but they were looking for people that didn't believe in God. But so what happened? I went to this down on the French Quarter. They would have these dances. They wouldn't start till about 11, 12 o'clock, but they'd be dances down there, you know, all night dances and bands, live bands. So I went to one night way down there, past French Quarter, all the way down in some back street, but they had a big crowd there. Anyway, from what I remember of the night, you know, I started dancing with this girl. Yeah, but she was a real, you know, real pretty girl. You know, I liked her a lot. I mean, I liked what I saw. You know, it was just one night. You know, just saw her that one time at the dance, and we danced all night. You know, and had a good time. Can't put all the details up on this video, but we had a good time. You know, we talked and everything. But at the end of the night, I had to go home because I had to get back to work. I had to go where I was living. But anyway, she wrote her name on my hand, or she wrote my hand. You know, she wrote my name on a number. Yeah, her number, her phone number on her hand, on my hand, and her name. And I thought, well, I'll get back with that girl. You know, I'll give her a call when I get home. You know. Well, anyway, it was a long way home, and you know how hot and sunny, hot and sweaty it is in the summer, man. You were just sweating, even in that supposed air-conditioned club. You know, uh, everybody was sweating, but it was a good band. We stayed way up into the night, 2 or 3 in the morning. You know, but I got sleepy even with that. You know, having a good time can wear you out. So anyway, I went home, went to bed, got up the next morning, looked at my hand, getting ready to call, and it was all smeared off. You couldn't tell the name or the number, you know. But it wasn't. Well, my point on this is it wasn't meant to be. That wasn't my destiny, brothers and sisters. I wasn't supposed to be with whoever that girl was, you know. Can't even remember her name. Same way all the way down through the years, you know. All these supposed, that wasn't the one that God had picked out for me. We have a destiny, brothers and sisters. God has predestined us, brothers and sisters. He's working out all the plans that, you know, He's for His children, brothers and sisters. That wasn't my destiny. Like I say, even the trial and error that we have in this life, uh, or of our destiny. He works all things for the good for his children, brothers and sisters. He's working them out for the good. But anyway, I just want to tell that little story about New Orleans. I lived down there for a while. And then I said, well, I think I'll go back up there to my home country and live. But it's good to get out and see the world and see different places. I hitchhiked all over this country, which you can't even do now. Well, I don't believe you can. But we used to hitchhike all over the country back then. You see kids all over. You could go up to a truck stop, start talking to the truckers every once in a while. This thing about we can't take drivers, that's back then they were saying it a little bit back then, but most of them would give you a ride if they were independent truckers. You ride all over this country. I remember one time this trucker out in Texas somewhere, he picked me up and he carried me almost all the way home. I think all the way well, that's how I wound up in New Orleans. He stopped at a restaurant, bought me a steak, and gave me $5. And all I did was just pass the time. He was a fella that liked to talk and everything, and all I did was just say, yeah, that's a good, yeah, I agree, just being friendly. But I remember him buying me a steak and giving me $5. He put me on my way. One other time, I also remember, I got a ride with this fella. There was a big roadblock up ahead. This was out west somewhere, I'm not exactly sure. He said, there was a roadblock. He said, or an accident or something that was ahead. He said, I just wanted to tell you, he said, I got a trunk full of marijuana or something. And if you want to get out, you can get out. Well, I got out, but he stopped, and I walked up the ramp there and got out, because I didn't want to be in there with if they did look in his trunk, because he was going to go on through anyway, because the traffic had him. He had to go on through. But I said, look, just let me out. So I got out and walked out. All kind of things like that would happen, to me that almost got in trouble, but it didn't. God was always with me. Why he told me that, I have no idea. It seemed like he would. But anyway, he told me he'd give him a choice to stay in. But I said, I'm getting out of here. He might check your trunk. I'll be involved in this. But anyway, just want to tell a few stories about my life on the road. That I'm no angel. I'm no angel. I'm just a poor boy down in Alabama that God had mercy on. But anyway, I'll get out of here and try to make another video. I know people are getting tired of my Bible study videos. But I hope I can be help somebody out there. No, ain't no perfect man. We're all fallible. We're all fallible beings, brothers and sisters, until we leave this body of clay. Peace and love from this old boy down here in Alabama.